Now the latest on Luigi Mangione, the suspect in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, formally waived extradition to New York. He was flown from Pennsylvania to New York to appear in federal court. A Manhattan grand jury indicted Mangione for murder as an act of terrorism in Thompson's death. He faces 11 counts in New York, including one count of first-degree murder. Joining us now to discuss all things surrounding that is criminal defense attorney Mario Gallucci, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Mario, good to see you, sir, and welcome to the show. So, Mario, let's jump right into this. Obviously, this is a story that a lot of folks have been watching very closely, intently trying to figure out what's going on with this. We know initially he did not want to be extradited from Pennsylvania to New York, but obviously he's had a change of heart.
So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here. You know, waiving extradition is completely ministerial. I mean, it's just a question of the governor of New York requesting of the governor of Pennsylvania to send him over. It's just it's an application, basically, that just would have held up the process, really did no good for Mr. Mangione. And he eventually, after speaking to his new counsel, waived his extradition just to get the ball rolling. And now he's back in New York, and he's facing two separate jurisdictions, actually, who are prosecuting him. You have the state court, which you just referenced, indicted him for murder in the first degree, and now he's got a new indictment, it looks like, pending in front of the federal court in the Southern District. So there's a lot of moving parts here.
So the question is, how strong is this case? Obviously, yet again, a lot of folks think that this case is something that it's an open and shut book. In essence, we would assume the prosecution would bring forth the evidence. The evidence appears to be somewhat strong, but yet again, there are others who are speculating that necessarily won't be the case.
Well, like I said, the evidence, if you look at what we're being told right now, is overwhelming. They have matched the ballistics that they recovered from the scene to the ballistics to the gun that they recovered from him when he was in Pennsylvania. They have videos of him leaving the scene. They have, consciousness of guilt, which is, he fled to Pennsylvania after committing the crime. They now have revealed, at least the Fed has revealed, notes from a journal that he kept that indicated that this was premeditated and planned, and he was looking to assassinate a CEO in charge of a healthcare company. So it's going to be, the evidence, as we're being told right now, is overwhelming. But with that being said, we're still innocent until proven guilty. He's represented by very fine counsel. I am sure that one of the first things they're going to do is ask for a mental fitness test to see if he's, actually even fit to proceed. And if he is found fit to proceed, I'm sure that you're going to hear what we call an NGRI defense, which is not guilty by reason of insanity.
Mario, can you speak to jury nullification? This is something that a lot of folks aren't familiar with. It is something that has been made yet again top of mind by a number of attorneys, stating that, well, perhaps this could very well get him off the hook.
So jury nullification is really not a defense. What it is you take a popular person and you hope that a jury agrees that whatever actions that person took were justified, although there's really no defense. So in a case like this, you see that there are people out there that are supporting the fact that he assassinated the victim in this case. And you're hoping that you could find a jury that agrees with the fact that this person deserved to be assassinated, which is ridiculous. So nullification is you're actually asking the jury to take all of the facts in a case and to completely ignore them and to find somebody not guilty. In a case like this, where you're looking at somebody who premeditatedly went to a location to assassinate an individual and accomplished it, and then is caught with all of the evidence that he's caught with, I think it's going to be very, very difficult to find a Manhattan jury that's going to acquit him based upon jury nullification.
And so I have to ask, how often does this happen, and are you familiar with this happening at all in the past?
Well, I've tried many murder cases. I tried 6 this year. They're very difficult to happen. Usually you don't plan on it. No, I don't know of any defense attorney that goes into a trial thinking, all right, my defense is jury nullification. I've won a murder one trial about 7 years ago where I believe without a doubt jury nullification took place. Where all the facts against my client were overwhelming, and at the end of the day, they acquitted him of two murders at this that had happened at the same time. So it does happen, but it's not something that a defense attorney would necessarily rely on. At least I wouldn't rely on that, and that's how it would go.
Staying in the realm of a jury, I would argue that perhaps there is not a person in America that has not been made aware or is privy to what has actually occurred. How does one select a jury in order for this to actually go to trial?
So you're not even going to get I mean, it's very difficult to get a change of venue. I often talk about John Gotti. I mean, John Gotti's attorneys fought long and hard to get a change of venue from New York, and they were unable to do it. So a change of venue is going to be very difficult. You're going to have to find a jury that is compassionate to mental illness. I'm assuming that once he's evaluated by a healthcare professional, they're going to find that he suffers from some sort of mental disease or defect. So you're going to have to find a jury that is compassionate to that type of mental defect, and hope that they recognize the fact that it wasn't the individual that they're looking at sitting in that seat that committed the crime, but the individual who is, disturbed by mental illness, not being medically treated for that mental illness, and acted out. And you see these mental illnesses manifest themselves at his age. Schizophrenia, you could be brilliant. I've tried cases of a lawyer who in his 20s he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So that is something that is very possible in a case like this, where once he's evaluated by a healthcare professional, and I'm sure his lawyers already have some experts lined up to evaluate his fitness at this point.
Truly interesting. We'll end with this, and that is the time frame to which we will actually see this go to trial.
Oh, it's going to be a little while. I would say at least a year before this gets to a trial. At least a year, especially in Manhattan.
Wow, very well said. Once again, Mr. Mario Gallucci, a criminal defense attorney. Truly appreciate you coming on the Live Zone, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.